So Abraha became angry. He became enraged. He became upset. And he told Najashi that send me a military strong enough that I will conquer all of the Arab and I will destroy the Kaaba. Where when Alexander the Great, they call the Great, died, before his death, he went to his physicians, his doctors, who were the top doctors of the time. He was a king. And he said, save me. And they told him, you're terminal. You can't be saved. He said, okay, when I die, put all my riches on the ground and walk my dead body over my riches, my treasures, to show the world that those riches are under your feet today. And don't let anybody but the doctors carry my body, to show that these physicians and doctors can't save anybody. Allah is the one that saves. So those doctors are going to carry my body and leave my hands out. This is, by the way, recorded in Western history as well. Leave my two hands out so people can see that I'm leaving this world with my hands empty. That's why there's a poem in Urdu. Ujad gaya wo baag jiske hazaron mali the. Sikandar gaya is dunya se aur uske dono haath khali the. That garden that had thousands of gardeners, in the end, sooner or later, it's barren. And Alexander left this world with both of his hands empty. So this king that had done all this stuff, now he loses the kingdom anyway. And now Iryat and Abraha rule Yemen. And Yemen is a very fertile land. It's a blessed land, a beautiful land. Allah rectify Yemen and bring it back to its original glory. So here, these two start to now butt heads. You can never have two authorities in one place. You can never have two presidents. Imagine if Biden and Trump were ruling together, or I don't know, Kamala or whatever, right? Because Biden was out. Right? It's not going to work. That's why even with the husband and wife, there has to be one authority. And usually it's the wife nowadays, let's just be honest, right? But the man is supposed to be the authority. There has to be one Amir. The Khalifa has to be one. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you have a Khalifa, another one tries to make that claim, has to be killed. So the Muslims are united under one. You don't cause these revolutions, because you can't have two powers. In one field, you cannot have two swords. So now Iryat and Abraha are now butting heads, because they are both semi-autonomous. Yes, they're under Najashi, but they kind of rule. Yemen, Najashi is not there, so they rule it. So they said, okay, look, we can't both. One of us has to become the force or leader or so on. So they said, why should we have our armies fight and deplete our soldiers and weaken ourselves? Let's me and you handle it one-on-one. Mano y mano, hand-to-hand combat. Take it on. Great. Now, Iryat was stronger. Physically, he was stronger. And Abraha was more cunning. So what happened? They said, no soldiers, just me and you. And some of the historians, this is without sanad, this is just historic events. They said that they went on like a little island where there was little water on the side, so just the two of them on a little piece of land and so on. Wallahu alam. But in the authentic narrations, we do know that they fought. Abraha played it dirty. He had one of his soldiers hide and shoot an arrow. So when the fight began, Iryat was winning. Iryat hit Abraha on the face and head. That's why Iryat was stronger physically. And Abraha became known as Ashram, Al-Ashram, the disfigured or the split lip. Sharam, like we say Sharam in Urdu, but Sharam in Arabic was when your face or your nose would be cut off. So his nose, his lip, his head got disfigured by Iryat, who was going to win, but the dirty trick, he had him hit with an arrow, and now Abraha overpowered Iryat with his dirty trick and won. So Abraha now became the king of Yemen to an extent. Najashi, he got upset. Najashi was a king. He said, well, what's this guy? I sent them to rule there and they're killing each other. He said, I take an oath that I'm going to go to the land of Yemen and I'm going to drag the head of Abraha on the ground and put my foot on it. Najashi had a big army. He was a strong king. When Abraha heard that, again, he was cunning, not always the strongest, but a cunning guy. So he was like, whoa, 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 I'm not going to take Najashi on. What did he do? He took a lot of wealth, gifts, a lot of the beautiful treasures of Yemen, from different fruits and gold and clothes, whatever he could get, he sent them to Abyssinia, to Habasha, to Najashi. And he said, "O king, accept these from me." Because all these worldly kings, in the end, they like that money. Right? He said, "Take these as a gift." And he sent dirt from Yemen. And he cut off his forelocks and he sent them. And he said, "O king, fulfill your oath, put this soil of Yemen on the ground, throw my forelocks on it and put your step, fulfill your qasam, no need for you to come to Yemen, we're good." Now the king, when he saw all the treasures and wealth, he was like, all right, cool, let him be there, man. He's a money maker, he's an earner. So he let him be. Abraha then started to consolidate power. And he found out that the Arab, they go for Hajj and Umrah, and they go and visit Baytullah al-Haram in Mecca. And they've been doing this since the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And they love it. And even though they had put idols and things, but they had learned that Hajj from Ibrahim alayhi salam. So he said, why do they go all the way to Mecca? Why don't they come here to Yemen? So I'm going to build a huge church, a place of worship, that's going to outshine Mecca. It's going to be spectacular. And the Arab will no longer go to Mecca, and all that trade and all that money and all that influence will come to Yemen. So he built a church called Al-Qulais. Anybody know why it was called Qulais? In Arabic, when you wear what today now people call kufi or topi or a hat, they used to call it qulanswa. In Fusha, qulanswa. So when somebody was wearing a hat, this was such a huge, impressive building that when they would look back, their hat would fall off. Their qulanswa would fall off. So from the big stature of this building and their hats falling, they called the place Qulais. And he told the Arab, from now on, no more going to Mecca, come here. But the Arab, they loved their tradition from the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So they didn't, they kept going to Mecca. And Allah has put that beautiful feeling in Mecca, where you go there in Medina, and it just has that beautiful spirituality. And when he pushed the issue, some of the Arab tribes, some of the historians said they went and burnt it down. But what seems to be more authentic is they went there and he let them stay there because he was happy that people were coming there. And in the night, they defecated. And they took that feces and they smeared it all over. To kind of give him a message. This is what we think about you. So Abraha became angry. He became enraged. He became upset. And he told Najashi that send me a military strong enough that I will conquer all of the Arab and I will destroy the Kaaba. And Najashi, having heard of what had happened, sent him the super weapon of the time, which were fil, elephants. And Abraha now prepared an army to march throughout the Arab lands to destroy Mecca. And inshallah, in the next dars, we'll pick up from there.